Hello and welcome to Trackside USA. Brendan Parnell with you this morning. Again, we're going racing in the States, and later on we'll have all the scratchings for today's racing, which features the running of the Grand National Steeple from Flemington. As always, Tony Brassel joins us. How are you, Tony?
Oh, I'm terrific, mate. Yeah, 8 races to kick off for Saturday with.
Some interestingly bred horses, and some, I suppose, on breeding, which we can relate to.
Yeah, well, that's right. We've got a few horses that relate to the local scene by shuttle stallions, and yeah, let's hope we can come up with a few winners, eh?
Well, we do need a few winners, and speaking of winners, someone who can help us with many of those, hopefully, Joanne Jones. How are you?
Oh, good morning. I'm doing great. We're in a new spot today. As you can see behind me, we've got the picturesque Hollywood Park paddock where the horses saddle when they're running here. But we're still live from Ellis Park in Kentucky and Louisiana Downs in Louisiana for 8 races today, 3 of which are on turf, 3 maiden events. One is a 2-year-old first-timer event. So we'll have lots of things to talk about as we proceed into today's card.
We kick off from Ellis Park. We'll look at the betting figures first, Joanne, and then get your initial thoughts on this opening race for coverage on Trackside USA. The market looks this way down under. $12 for Starship Express in this upcoming race. $2.50 for Ryan S., a grandson of Dahar, who's well known down here as the sire of Storm. $13 Oxford Prince. Hail Lively won $9.90. Faultless Appeal $15. Seattle Chief $4.60. Much shorter in America, much shorter. $7.10 Parker Avenue, and Mr. Cody is at $10. And Mr. Cody has Willie Martinez in the saddle. Now this race, Joanne, is a 6 furlong or 1,200 metre allowance race. Would you like to explain the difference between allowance and claiming races?
Well, an allowance race, basically, the horses are not for sale. A claiming race, if you're a licensed owner, you can go in and take any of those horses at any time. But today, it is an allowance race. 6 furlongs at Ellis Park starts on the backside in the stretch, so you're not in a chute. So the one hole, which we talk about usually giving a length or so at the start, you don't really have that problem because you're starting on the main track. You've got a little run to the turn, and everybody should get decent position, especially in a short field like this one.
The bottom 2 runners, Parker Avenue and Mr. Cody, are both last start winners in the early look at the form before we look at these horses. What have you come up with?
Well, I'm liking the number 7, Parker Avenue, actually. I thought that I didn't see that the number 4 horse, Hail Lively one, would go favored, and here we've got 5-1 live at Ellis Park on the morning line favorite, who was lined at 3-1, Hail Lively one. And this is a little bit of a tough race, but I think that Parker Avenue with John Court, who, if you were watching any of the races out of Ellis earlier today, he is lighting up the toad. I've seen him win 2 so far in very heady rides. Peck gets off this horse, Brian Peck, and goes to the number 6 horse, Seattle Chief, but I wouldn't give that much of a concern in here. I actually think that going to Court is a big positive. Peck is about an 8% rider. Court, as we said, 1-2 already today. He's a 12% rider. I think the whole reason Peck went over to the other horse is basically to ride for Carl Nafsker, who's a top trainer on the East Coast. He trained a horse named Unbridled that many of you may have heard of. This is a layoff horse, Seattle Chief, with 8.5 months off. That last race over the Keeneland Strip was a very strong effort. I just don't know, after 8.5 months off, if he can repeat that. That's why I'm leaning towards the number 7, Parker Avenue, off that maiden win. It was a maiden claiming win, not a maiden allowance win. But, you know, they don't know that they're running a little cheaper. All they know is that they're in against horses again. And I think that Parker Avenue looks a little solid here, but I know we're going to be going down the field one by one as we come up. Who do you see in here, Brendan? It's Bosch in the announcer's booth.
They're all in line. They're off and running. It's Mr. Cody popping the gates and taking the lead from Faultless Appeal, charging up into second now. And right there, Oxford Prince moves up into third. Hail Lively one. Gains 3 wide from 4th place. Starship Express on the inside, racing 5th. Ryan S. 5 off the pace in 6th. They're followed by Seattle Chief, and Parker Avenue starts to gear it up now from the back of the pack. 7 lengths off the lead as they move for the far turn. Faultless Appeal and Jesse Campbell neck in front of Mr. Cody and Willie Martinez, pressing him hard from the outside second. 3 back to Hail Lively One racing in third. Seattle Chief in between horses racing along in fourth place now. And Parker Avenue gears it up as they run to the top of the lane. Opening quarter in 22 and 3/5 seconds. Passing the quarter pole now. Faultless Appeal. Mr. Cody starts to press on by to take the lead. Then a gap of 3 back to Hail Lively One. Parker Avenue put down to a drive to the far outside, and Seattle Chief driving as well. Down to the 8th pole they go. Mr. Cody and Willie Martinez opening up now by 2. Faultless Appeal game, but he can't go with him. Hail Lively One is third, and Parker Avenue on the far outside with Seattle Chief, but Mr. Cody pouring it on late. Mr. Cody wins it going away. Seattle Chief up for the place in a tight photo for third.
Well, you can see a very difficult task for those behind to close on this pretty speed-favoring track today, as the winner ran a pretty solid race there. The 7 horse you see galloping out on top, Parker Avenue, but it was the 8, Mr. Cody. Speed, speed, speed.
Yeah, an impressive performance there, Tony. Green for Willie Martinez Rise, but it did prove too strong.
Yeah, well, he was the one with the link to Australia in some small way, wasn't it? He was the one by Is It True? And he's only been to the track 5 times now for 2 wins. So he's got ability, but as Joanne said, he must be a bit hard to train, this fellow. He has a bit of a holiday between each run, almost.
Oh, as long as he keeps earning the connections, that prize money. 5 starts for 2 wins now, Joanne, and it won very, very comfortably in the end.
Won comfortably, but you see him zigging in and out and lugging in and out coming down the lane, so he's probably a little winded from the 5 months off, probably a little unsound and sore, as we said. So per his recent pattern, he should have about a 5 or 6 month layoff now in the barn off of that win and come back fresh another 5 or 6 months from now.
Gee, the pictures we get from Ellis Park are wonderful for the viewers at home and those watching throughout Australia, being able to see each of the horses before the start and also being able to watch all of the action. It's still 8-6 and a photo for third. And it's 690, 180, 180 the place for Seattle Chief in second position. Number 5 now has third. So 8, 6 and number 5, which was Faultless Appeal. Gee, that'll throw some value into those taking the exotics. And as was mentioned by Joanne, there is some good value to be had. $5.20 the place. As soon as interims are through on the opening race, we will let you know as Willie Martinez returns aboard Mr. Cody. Well, Louisiana Downs race number 2 is over 1,000 metres. Interesting race. It will come down very much to Joanne's thoughts on track work and also how they look as they parade, as this is a race for maiden 2-year-olds. It's okay to be fast is at $18. Zydeco Princess $7.80. Charming Debbie $7.80. 2 Bag at $10. Foxy Rebel $16. Zarb's Miss Grifter $29. Celestial Lady $10. Scott's Bag number 8. Interesting, it shows up so short, $2.80, much shorter than the price in the US. And Melissa's Success $4.50 is overs compared to what you're taking. Okay, before we give you Joanne's thoughts on the upcoming race from Louisiana, interims, the first race, which is from Ellis Park. The Quinella has paid $12.20. The Trifecta, $88 neat on 8, 6 and 5. Okay, runners parading now for this upcoming race. Joanne, we'll let you take us through them.
All right, well, what's interesting about this 5-furlong, 1,000-meter event, there is a long run to the turn, so no need to worry about these tiny little 2-year-old babies, these fillies, getting any trouble going into that turn as far as post position goes. An interesting stat here is that 2 out of 3 horses in the times this race would be won by a horse with form, not a first-time starter. This is definitely a tote watch, so keep your eye on any horse getting any late bet. But the number 1, It's Okay to Be Fast, Evangeline Downs, which is a bull ring track, a small track around Louisiana on a good surface. So that dismal effort, you might just throw out and pretend It's Okay to Be Fast as a first-time starter today, but the horse was not getting any action on the tote board. Number 2, Zydeco Princess, another first-time starter. 37-1 gate work is about the best thing she's sported so far, but she, again, is getting no play on the board. The 3, Charming Debbie, another one coming in from Evangeline Downs, that bull ring track in Louisiana. I think this horse might be bred more for turf and routes. Horses run twice, showed some 22-3 speed in that first event against Maiden Company. Not getting any play today, and I don't think I'm going to go with her today either. The 4-2 Bag is a horse that's definitely, pardon me?
Joanne.
Okay, the 4...
Zydeco Princess number 2 we're looking at. Here's Charming Debbie, which is at $8.30 on our market.
$8.30 there. They're getting a little bit of play on that one. I think that you said there was a little betting on the one we're looking at now, the 4-2 Bag, the Devil's Bag Offspring. This is a horse with speed, 22-4, 46-2. Austin Lovelace is getting off of this horse and going to the horse I like on the outside, the number 9, Melissa's Success. But 2 Bag was bet down to 9-2 early on at the Louisiana Downs tote board, but that was an okay effort first out. The 5-horse Foxy Rebel, not using this one myself today. There was an 8-1 morning line. The horse opened at 5-2, so you've got to wonder what the barn's trying to say there. The race over the track was dismal. There are a couple decent workouts leading up to that and nothing since. The number 6, Zarv's Miss Grifter, a first-time starter, 36-1 gate work. That's pretty good, but is this horse bred more for turf and route races? Probably. Watch the tote, not getting any play. The 7, Celestial Lady, ran at Lone Star in Texas, which is a tricky track. Some days it's really fast, other days it's really slow, and it gives out some skewed form. But the horse was training well, seemed to have gotten hurt, took a month and a half off, and here they come trying again with a little bit of bet at 12-1. Scott's Bag is my second horse in here, a first-time starter who showed little in the works, but you've got that high percentage team of Don Symington, who won 2 turf races for us on last week's show. He's a 35% rider, also the leading rider, and Jerry Cart, a 25% trainer. So this is definitely a high percentage team. The horse was the morning line favorite at 3-1, but you're looking at 6-1 on the board, so maybe what you see is what you get. My top horse is the number 9, Melissa's Success, 4-1 on the morning line. You're looking at 5-2 on the board, and there she is on your screen. Melissa's got a lot going for her today. She ran for 25,000 maiden claiming last time. They know they've got something a little better than shown, so they're not going to let anybody take her. They jump back up to a maiden allowance today. You've got the good outside post, which is key when you're dealing with 2-year-old fractious fillies. They're the last to load, so they don't think it's a new stall while everybody else is throwing wingdings, and they pop right out of that gate on top. In the last race, Melissa's Success may have been third, beaten 2 lengths, but she was 5 lengths ahead of the rest of the field. Jimenez, a very low percentage apprentice rider, is taken off the horse and replaced by Austin Lovelace, who is a much better rider in sprints than he is in routes. He's about a 13% rider. I think that Lone Star race was a very strong effort. She should be the speed in here at 22-2, 46-4. I hope she doesn't get in a speed duel with 2 Bag, but that's how I see it. The 9, Melissa's Success, is getting the nod for me today.
Well, Joanne, as they head around towards the start for our viewers, first time on Trackside USA, Tony, there's not a lot of disclosed form here. I can tell you that number 2 is a granddaughter of the great Stormbird. Charming Debbie, number 3, of Roberto. Devil's Bag, the grandsire of numbers 4 and 5. New Rayev, the grandsire of number 6. And Devil's Bag, the grandsire of runner number 8. So there is some interesting breeding. What have you come up with on the dirt work you can find?
Okay, well, I've gone for Joanne's second pick here, Scott's Bag, which is number 8, Brendan. This horse is unraced, but she's turned in reasonable works. And I'd like that statistic that Joanne was quoting before with the trainer and the jockey. There's Don Symington. We referred to him last week. He's a terrific rider. He's got that great strike rate at the moment, 35% winners. And the trainer, Jerry Carter, he's trained 25% winners. So there's a lot of probability factors there that I like. And the breed, Devil's Bag, he was a terrific 2-year-old horse, natural runner. This horse is by a sire called Bag, Joanne. Could you tell us a bit about him?
I can tell you I've seen horses by Bag, but I don't know the horse personally. Devil's Bag, we know, was a very good horse. Probably not as good a sire as Runner. This is one where you've got to watch the tote board, and to see a Cart Symington horse, who are 2 of the dominating individuals as far as trainers and jockeys, not being bet basically at all. I mean, that somebody must have seen something on this horse in the morning to line it at 3-1 as the morning line favorite, but nobody's followed.
All the others standing Very orderly. And Melissa's Success goes in. They're all in line. And there they go. Two bag guns right up to the front. Foxy Rebel goes with her. Then from between horses, Zydeco's Princess and Charming Debbie. Then comes Zarb's Miss Grifter. She's about 6 from the front. On the far outside, Melissa's Success. Celestial Lady is 7 lengths from the leaders. After that, Scott's Bag and the last horse, It's Okay to Be Fast. They go for the far turn, and it's Two Bag leading it by a clear 2 lengths. Foxy Rebel in second. Zydeco's Princess is third near the rail. Charming Debbie in fourth. Zarb's Miss Grifter fifth, about 4.5 from the front. And then it's 2 lengths behind her to Melissa's Success, followed by Celestial Lady, 6 from the front. They come to the top of the stretch, and Two Bag just continues to skim right along at the rail. Two Bag turns for home, leading it by over 2. Foxy Rebel chasing in second. Charming Debbie in third. Zydeco's Princess in fourth. Melissa's Success needs to make up about 9. They come inside the final furlong, and it's Two Bag still in the clear in front by maybe 3 or so at the 16th pole. Two Bag, Foxy Rebel, and Charming Debbie. They race on down to the line, and Two Bag gets home first. It'll be close for second. Two Bag, Charming Debbie, and Foxy Rebel.
Two Bag wins the 6th race from Louisiana Downs. The speed horse didn't get any trouble from Melissa's Success today. I don't know what happened to Melissa. You see the number 9 galloping out on top after the race. Maybe she just couldn't get it into gear. I saw the head-on of the start. I wish we'd seen the pan to see if she didn't get out of the gate. She didn't get up to that lead with Two Bag, and with nobody menacing Two Bag, she went on very easily as a winner.
Two Bag, as we mentioned before the race, Tony had put in some nice track work times at this stage here, just highballing, and gave nothing else a chance. And they've run a neat 1 minute for the 1,000 metres or 5 furlongs. Got through the quarter in good time too.
Yeah, she did. She rolled along in front, unchallenged, basically, and they had her and the second horse had a huge gap to the rest of the bunch going into that first turn, and well, she never looked like being beaten once they turned for home, did she? Two Bag.
Two Bag, a granddaughter of the great Devil's Bag from a quack mare. Paul Pruitt, I think it is the trainer. David Guillory, the rider, awaiting minor placings to come through. Stretches out daylight back to a very tight go for second between number 3 Charming Debbie, 5 Foxy Rebel, 2 prominent ones in that photo. So still awaiting the placings to be semaphored. The upcoming race, there will be win and 2-place betting available. Two Bag successful in America, as you can see. Morning lined at 6 to 1, started 5 to 1, and in Australia, if you backed it, you've got around $7.50 on the New South Wales TAB for the win. Race number 3 is 10 minutes away. Let's check in with the latest in betting figures. Ellis Park, it's on the turf. 1,700 metres, an allowance race for fillies and mares. And Vaporific, $7.30. Cozy Lass has come up huge unders. $1.70, $3.90 for Cat City, runner number 3. And that's nice overs, $18 Last Boat East, and $6 for Don't Be Silly. Cat City by the Great Storm Cat, as you would expect with a name like that. A small field though, but nevertheless, we'll find a winner there, Joanne, won't we, in this upcoming race from Ellis Park. Now, placings are through on Louisiana Downs, 4, 3, and 5. So $2.30 is third place prize, $2.20. for Charming Debbie. Just about to dismount and unsaddle at Louisiana Downs. Turf race coming up here, Joanne, and interesting race it is, and you heard our odds. Runner number 3's very juicy odds, $3.90.
What we don't want is for Deegan in this short field, as we've said before, to go out. You don't want to take your horse's game away. It doesn't matter if you have 2 horses to run against or 5. So they're going into the gate. Let's hope Cat City gets a picture-perfect trip to take this win. Let's throw it up to Luke Kreitbosch in the announcer's booth.
Scott said Last Boat East and Don't Be Silly to the outside. All in line. They're off and running. It's a good start. Don't Be Silly breaking on top and now drawing out to lead by a length past the stands the first time. Cat City broke well, but is wrangled back now as Vaporific goes by inside of that one. Last Boat East is next and Cozy Lass at the back of the pack. Around the first turn they go. Don't Be Silly and Francisco Torres opening up by a length as Vaporific headstrong. Little rankle on the inside second. Cat City right there cruising up a closer third. Then it's a gap of a couple farther back on the outside to Last Boat East and Cozy Lass at the back of the pack. Just 5 lengths front to back here as they wheel their way to the backstretch through a slow opening quarter. 25 3/5 seconds, and it's Don't Be Silly leading the way and stacking up the field here in front by a length and a quarter. Cat City now edging up a closer second with a gray Vaporific on the inside in third. Last Boat East now 3 off the pace in fourth by a neck, and Cozy Lass at the back of the pack with just over a half mile left to go. And the opening halftime was still slow, 50 seconds flat, and it's Don't Be Silly in charge by 3 parts of a length. Cat City putting the pressure on now as the tempo quickens here. Vaporific on the inside will need a seam to slip through. Last Boat East ranging up 3 wide, and Cozy Lass at the back of the pack really starting to pack up here midway on the far turn. Now 3 lengths front to back. Still Don't Be Silly, still with plenty left in the tank. Cat City right there second. Here goes Last Boat East on the far outside. Vaporific still bottled up, waiting for a seam to slip through, and Cozy Lass starts to gear it up. They head for home. Don't Be Silly set down for the drive, responds, leads it by a half a length. Cat City will try to push on by, but Don't Be Silly tough. Don't Be Silly 3 parts of a length in front. Cat City now hitting her best stride. Cat City on the outside of Don't Be Silly. Don't Be Silly digs in. Don't Be Silly hangs on by a neck to Cat City.
Hopefully everybody that did the
was there.
exactas did the exacta box like we specified. Even if you have a dominating horse, they can be beaten, and that's what happened here. Don't Be Silly. Nobody wanted that lead. They allowed Don't Be Silly to get out there in a stranglehold and just putt along. The number 3 horse, Cat City, was pulling on Deegan, sitting on the horse's rear end practically, trying to keep him from going to the lead. So they just paraded around the track that way the whole way. I think the number 1 horse, Vaporific, was third. This is a horse who was boxed and almost clipped heels and went down going into that first turn. But nobody could touch these 2 leaders. So that exacta box, hopefully we'll get a nice price here.
Well, Tony, plenty of ticker displayed by Don't Be Silly, who you are very confident with.
Yeah, well, when she was cruising down the back there with the ears pricked, you knew you were going to get a bit of a side against the favourite. You just love to see leaders rolling along like that, and 50 seconds the first half mile, they just walked, didn't they?
It just set it up for it to kick on when they went home, and Cat City seemed to have every chance. Now, this is the jump. Cat City jumps from gate 3, post position 3, comes out a bit and bumps that runner to its outside.
Yep, and there's Don't Be Silly on the extreme outside, just kicking up to assume an easy lead.
Francisco Torres rated it really well.
Did he what? They just let him do as he liked.
Well, speaking of the turf, we're heading back to the turf at Louisiana Downs for the next race. Let's update the latest betting figures for you. All the rage in this race, as you can see, is Bo Simpson, runner number 6. And some good value for numbers 3 and 5. Outstanding value, in fact, for number 5, Case, which in the States is way less than the $24 we're offering. Scout Revolt, $5. $12 Cross Switch. Distinctive Mr. B, that's one for me.
Yeah.
$9.21. Sand Snipe, Case, $24. Bo Simpson, $1.70. Bodacious Bubba, named after Tony, $9.10. Interims on the previous race before we take you back to Joanne. They look this way. Don't Be Silly, Francisco Torres, 340, 150. Cat City, 130. Vaporific, no third. Now, the Quinella has paid 280, but the Trifecta has paid very well. In a 5-horse field, $28.30. Back a winner with Trackside USA. Joanne, you've got another one for us coming up?
Well, I think I do, and I'm absolutely shocked. I've got 7-2 on the tote board at Louisiana Downs. This number 6, Bo Simpson, is a typical, it has the type of form that Cat Thief had in the last race. It's going to take some running shoes or an easy lead like the last horse had to beat the number 6 horse, Bo Simpson, in this race. And you're looking at 7-2, I'm sorry, out on that board right now from an 8-5 morning line. This is a 5-furlong turf race, 1,000 meters on the turf down in Australia. There's a long run to the turn here, so again, there shouldn't be any problem with horses getting position, but this race is absolutely speed-packed. The number 3, Distinctive Mr. B, can go 22 flat, 44 and 4 every single race He's out on the lead. The number 7 horse, Bodacious Bubba, Tony's horse, is another one that loves to go out on the lead. 22-1, 45-1 all the time. So will we see a speed duel with those two? Hopefully, because then that'll set up even better for Bo Simpson, who will be sitting probably in that second flight of horses. And there are 3 or 4 of those. It's a very speed-packed race.
Okay, we might go through as we look at these runners, Joanne. Number 1, Scout Revolt, to win at 2 runs back, 7 and 9 runs back, by an affirmed sire called Insurrection, and to win at 2 runs back.
This is a horse shipping in from Lone Star. That's the inconsistent track in Texas. Inconsistent in that some days it's lightning fast, some days it's slow, some horses handle it, some horses don't. Scout Revolt, I'm not going to go for myself today. Yes, there's a chance that he could be there for the exacta. The horse is trying the turf for the first time today, and if you're wondering about this breeding on the turf, Insurrection as the sire is a non-rated horse. Hasn't even had enough horses to be rated as a turf sire. Affirmed, we've all heard of Affirmed, Triple Crown winner. The last Triple Crown winner in the United States is in the upper 12%, so way above average Affirmed as a turf sire. The sire of the Dam, Bionic Light, is in the bottom third. So what do you do with a horse that has that much mixed turf breeding? I guess you would just say average. So I don't think it'll move the horse up or move the horse back.
Now, if memory serves me correctly, Joanne, last week you were singing the praises of Don Symington on turf.
Don Symington is a wonderful rider, turf, dirt, anything. He was great on the turf. You saw him in 2 turf routes last week, which is his best thing. His best ride is a route over a sprint, and his best route ride is a turf route ride. This is a turf sprint. So, of course, Don is still effective in any position. He's not the leading rider at a 35% clip for nothing. Cross switch, a 6-year-old gelding in here, over 50% first or second on the turf, but you've got 3 months off. 2 slow works, a 37-1 breezing. This is a tough one to get a gauge on. I'm not using this horse today personally.
I'll tell you what, if you're having a bet on Joanne's tip here, it's $2.10 the win, but $3.50 for the place. Admittedly, there's only 2 place dividends. Tony, that's the correct weights dividends with Don't Be Silly, your tip. You're in winning form. What do you like here?
Well, I thought I'd have a bit of a stab at this horse having his first run on the turf. Number 1, Scout Revolt. He's been quite consistent. He's a horse, as Joanne said, shipping over from Texas, and it's a bit hard to tally up that form against the Ellis Park form, but he's been fairly close in his pass-through runs, 4th, 1st, 3rd last time at Lone Star over 5 furlongs, and he's drawn the fence, so he should be fairly close to the mark, I'd say, Brendan.
Tony, stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, sure.
Joanne, likewise. We'll be back with you. And also, for the folk watching us on Trackside USA,
The sunning.
Oh.
They're all in line. And there they go. Perfect start for all the runners. Sand Snipe just in front, far outside Bodacious Bubba. Also speed from Distinctive Mr. B. Scout Revolt is there at the rail. It's Bodacious Bubba from the outside pushing on, trying to make the lead, but Distinctive Mr. B gets there first. Scout Revolt is 3rd at the rail. Cross switch close up in 4th. Sand Snipe drops back 5th. Bo Simpson is 6th, about 5 from the front. Then it's a gap of 2 back to Case. They go through the turn, and from the inside it's Distinctive Mr. B. Bodacious Bubba forcing the issue, and he gets his head in front. Scout Revolt in behind those horses 3rd, followed by